Why, hello there, friends. It's Emma here, the Bookish Princess. I know a lot of YouTubers do like Vlogmas, lots of festive videos throughout December, but I always like to continue celebrating Christmas after Christmas because the 12 days of Christmas, like the song, are technically the 12 days between Christmas and Epiphany, so the 25th and January 6th. I always thought it would be fun to do like 12 days of Christmas vlogs, and so far I'm 3 for 3, 4 for 4. I don't know if I'll get to all 12 vlogs, but I thought it would be fun to keep the festive spirit going, so today we're going to be doing the Christmas Carol book tag. I originally spotted this tag on the lovely Kate Howe's BookTube channel. I love her recommendations. She always talks about so many amazing books, and she's done so many cool videos throughout December, and I just thought the prompts for this one were really fun. I'll make sure I link Kate's video and the original tag video in the comments below. The prompts are, of course, inspired by Charles Dickens's A Christmas Carol. The first prompt is The Ghost of Christmas Past, a book that was a childhood favorite. There were a lot of different books and series that I enjoyed as a kid, but the one that stands out most to me is Little House on the Prairie by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I just loved all of those books. Farmer Boy, that's about Laura Ingalls Wilder's husband Almanza when he was a little boy growing up on a farm in New York. That one's so good, and of course starting with Little House in the Big Woods and following Laura and her family through all of their adventures on the frontier. There were also some spin-off series not by Laura Ingalls Wilder, but about her ancestors. So it was like Little House in Scotland about her grandmother or great-grandmother, or Little House in Boston about, her ancestor when her ancestor was a little girl growing up in these different parts of America, parts of the world, parts of history. I really loved those. I've actually been thinking of rereading some Laura Ingalls Wilder, maybe picking up Farmer Boy in the new year because it's been a while since I reread that. Ghost 2, The Ghost of Christmas Present, a recent book that you think will become one of your all-time favorites. So I actually just finished filming my top 20 reads of 2020 video. It will be going up very soon, so make sure you're subscribed and stay tuned for that. One of the books I talked about and one of my favorite reads from this year was Letters to a Diminished Church, Passionate Arguments for the Relevance of Christian Doctrine by Dorothy Sayers. Dorothy Sayers is maybe most well known for her Lord Peter mystery series, which are excellent, but her theological writings are also so good. These lectures and letters just go so deep. This was written during World War II, but the issues she talks about feel so timely. The way she phrases her arguments is very compelling. I love the way she talks about creativity and how that's really a God-given gift. More than that, really, it's like this spark of divinity within us because God himself is creative, is the creator. I definitely think I'll be coming back to this one. Question 3, The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, a book coming out next year that you're most excited about. So if you know my channel, you know that I read a lot of older books and I'm not necessarily in the know about what's coming out or what the new books are. I love old books because it's like time travel. It's like you get to have a conversation with someone who lived centuries ago and can really give you a totally new point of view. It's totally outside of your culture, outside of your time, and especially if it's a classic book that has been read by generations of other thinkers and authors. It really puts you into this amazing conversation. So when I first read this question, I was like, I probably don't even know of a book that's coming out next year, but then I realized I do. Jordan Peterson, I've been reading 12 Rules for Life, and he has a new book. It's called 12 More Rules for Life, Beyond Order, that is coming out in March. I've enjoyed a lot of his lectures, and I've been enjoying 12 Rules for Life, so I'm sure I will be checking that out in 2021. Question 4, Bah Humbug, a book that everyone else loves that you just can't stand. So that's a little bit extreme. I'm not sure I hate this book or that everyone loves it. But if you watch my Boo to You Readathon wrap up, you'll know what's coming. Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I had heard so much about this book. It had been on my TBR for ages, and I just really thought that we would get along, Daphne du Maurier and I. Rebecca, it would be full of suspense and drama, and it just felt flat to me. I just could not get into it. It's told from the point of view of a first-person narrator. And so much of the suspense is actually just her daydreams. And so I couldn't take the suspense seriously because it's you're just imagining this. The problems around her, it feels like she never actually confronts them. I mean, she does eventually confront them, but it came too late for me. And like, there are some dramatic events that happened in the past, but yeah, it was just hard to feel any sympathy for the heroine, or hard to even take her fears seriously, because she just was so passive, so meek and retiring. Like, she couldn't even ask the butler to like move a vase of flowers from one table to another, you know? I guess I was too busy being annoyed to be at all in suspense. I'll have to try another Daphne du Maurier someday, but yeah, Rebecca just did not do it for me. Question 5, Bob Cratchit, an old dependable that you always recommend. Okay, so there are 2 authors that I usually recommend. I bet if you know my channel, you probably already know who they are. Actually, I would love to hear from you guys. What would you guess? Or like, if you've watched my bookish videos, what would you say is the book I most frequently recommend? Because I would say it is either Elizabeth Goudge, and when I talk about Elizabeth Goudge, I usually recommend A City of Bells, because that's my favorite, and I feel like it's the best representation of all that's beautiful in Elizabeth Goudge's books. Like, it's got the history, it's got the characters, it's got romance, it's got mystery, and it's got like a little bit of a lighter touch. She always has really beautiful spiritual insights, and sometimes they bog the book down a little. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it just can be heavy, slow reading, and A City of Bells is a little bit lighter, so I think is a good place to start. But the other author or book I always recommend is Jane Austen. Really, any of her 6 books are an excellent place to start, but one of her books that I always have to give a little plug to, because I feel like it gets forgotten, is Lady Susan. It's a short novella. It's epistolatory, so it's told in letters, and the heroine is the villain, which is a really fun twist. I actually did a live stream book club chatting about Lady Susan this year, and I did a little character map. I've done lots of Jane Austen character maps, plotting out all the connections between her characters this year. That's been really fun. I still have Mansfield Park and Northanger Abbey to get to in 2021. Those are the 2 old dependables that I think of first, but I would be interested to hear the opinions of the Bookish Kingdom on this one. It always makes me so happy when someone messages me or tags me and says they've been reading Elizabeth Goudge or Jane Austen or something inspired by my videos. That's always so lovely to hear. Question 6, Tiny Tim, an underhyped book that you think deserves more love. Well, I mean, I guess you could say either of the 2 I just talked about, but I was thinking about what to say for this prompt. I actually came up with way too many ideas, because I do tend to sort of mood read, or like read the books that come to me. You know, I wait for the universe to present a book to me. I have a list in my head that like I also want to read, but sometimes you'll like hear a book referenced in another book, or you'll spot a book at a used bookshop, or I'll find an old book that belonged to my grandmother in the basement that I've never read before, or I'll spot a book at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. I've mentioned I Married Adventure by Osa Johnson quite a bit. I feel like this is definitely an underhyped book, underhyped story, the story of the Johnsons, this husband and wife travel photographer and videographer team in the 20s and 30s. They definitely deserve some more love and recognition. Also, see, this could have been my answer for the previous one. D.E. Stevenson is another one of my favorite authors. Miss Bunkle's book is usually the go-to recommendation I make of a good starting place for D.E. Stevenson. And then some adventures, The Scarlet Pimpernel by Bernice Orsi, Captain Blood by Raphael Sabatini. Those are both older books, just really exciting adventure tales that are a great escape. Question 7, today, why it's Christmas Day. What's a book that always gets you in the mood for Christmas, apart from A Christmas Carol? I'm going to have to go with Elizabeth Goudge for this one again. She wrote a book called A Sister of the Angels, which is really all about Christmas time. It's a sequel to A City of Bells, so it's really, really delightful for Christmas. Dean's Watch, a lot of that book also takes place at Christmas time and is excellent for getting you into the spirit. Question 8, The Muppet Christmas Carol, your favorite film adaptation of a book. So I decided to just go for my favorite adaptation of A Christmas Carol because there are so many of them, and I actually would not go for the Muppet one. When I think of an adaptation of A Christmas Carol, the first one I think of is obviously the Disney one, the Mickey's Christmas Carol. I mean, you don't get any more Scrooge than Scrooge McDuck, let's be honest. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's quick tag video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Stay tuned for some more fun uploads this week. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye, guys!